To do a scale of 1 to 10 of bad words, wacko comes in at about 2.5, somewhere close to spineless.
Idea, which is just chucking toothbrushes out of airplanes. Hey, Pierre Polyev.
WTF. Here, here.
We have Tom Mulcair, the previous NDP leader, chiming in on what Pierre said and why Greg Ferguson is spineless for kicking him out. Welcome back to the A News Network. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Let's have a listen to what Tom has to say.
Never in my career have I seen such, in my view, blatant partisanship from a speaker. I mean, if you were to do a scale of 1 to 10 of bad words, wacko comes in at about 2.5, somewhere close to spineless. And somehow Greg Fergus got it in his head that he could boot out Pierre Poilievre. Fergus should do the right thing and simply step down. He cannot, with any credibility, based on my many years' experience in both provincial legislature and in the House of Commons, he cannot continue to do that job credibly himself. He made a huge mistake. When Poilievre said, I simply withdraw, he should have ended it there. Instead, he went after the leader of the opposition. Unbelievable. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it.
You think that Greg did the right thing by kicking him out? And these are the other words that I came up with that maybe are scared. Trudeau's scared of them. Bonkers, kooky, nutty, cuckoo, off the wall, zany, crackpot. Well, that's close. Screwball, deranged, drab, wacko, madcap. Maybe these words too are so horrible to call a spade on Trudeau. And I was almost thinking I should do a video on the people that, since Trudeau says that Pierre hangs around with Diagol on the far right, you know, why don't I show the 6 people, I believe it is, the maps that Trudeau has hung out with and terrorists that he's invited to take pictures, dinner, and look at that, because Trudeau is actually 1,000 times worse than anything of Diagol, the goat that does coke. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let's go see the whole video of why Greg kicked him out. Let's have a whole look at that.
Worth the drugs and death. His extreme and radical drug policy has increased overdose deaths in British Columbia by 380%. In the year following his decriminalization of crack, heroin, and other hard drugs in hospitals, transit buses, coffee shops, and parks where children play, there has been a record-smashing 2,500 deaths. Will the Prime Minister accept the BC NDP's demand to recriminalize those drugs?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, I just answered that question. What hasn't been answered by the Leader of the Opposition is why he chooses to continue to court extreme right nationalist groups like Diagol. He refuses to denounce these extremists who don't believe Canadians should coexist with each other. Instead, they call for war and tell people to follow their instincts accordingly. The Leader of the Conservative Party is actively courting the support of groups with white nationalist views. It is disturbing, and he needs to stand up and apologize now.
Right now. Colleagues, so soon in question period, it is important that we try to control ourselves. I'll ask the honourable member from St. Albert, Edmonton, please, to allow members to ask the questions and members to respond. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I always condemn extremism and racism, including from the guy who spent the first half of his adult life as a practicing racist, dressing up in hideous racist costumes so many times he can't remember.
The Honourable member, Leader of the Opposition, knows that to make an accusation directly at the character of a single person is not appropriate. And I'm going to ask all members to control themselves. I'll ask the Honourable Leader of the Opposition to rephrase this question and to start from the top.
Mr. Speaker, I also condemn the extremism of a Prime Minister who gives hundreds of thousands of dollars of anti-racism money to a Jew hater who has proposed shooting Jews in the head. I condemn a Prime Minister who allows the IRGC, which murdered 55 Canadians, to remain legal. And I condemn a Prime Minister who allows open use of crack, heroin, meth, and weapons in hospital rooms that threaten nurses and on school buses next to children. Will the Prime Minister reverse his extremist policies and the death?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the leader opposite is showing us exactly what shameful, spineless leadership looks like. He shakes hands with white nationalists and then goes to actively court the support of those members and has the nerve. Get it together, Greg!
Any idea what you're doing? Order. I'm going to ask the honourable member from Lethbridge if she has problems with the chair, that she should challenge the chair in a way. But as she knows, as the honourable member from Lethbridge knows, that by challenging the chair is against the rules of this House. I'll ask the honourable member to please to ask her to withdraw her remarks.
The chair is acting in a disgraceful manner.
I'm going to ask you, will you... Ms. Harder, I have to name you for disregarding the authority of the chair. Pursuant to authority granted to me by Standing Order 11, I order you to withdraw from the House and from any participation by video conference for the remainder of this day's sitting. Now back to the issue at hand. Mrs. Thomas, my apologies. Now back to the original point. I'm going to ask the Prime Minister to please, as I'd ask the Leader of the Opposition, you can start from again and to make sure that he does, to start his question, and to reframe it in a way that does not call into the character of an individual member of Parliament. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the leader opposite is showing us once again what he will do to try and earn votes through personal attacks. He shakes the hands of a leader of a white nationalist group.
Oh, you made it this far. These are the 7 people that Trudeau has not only shaken hands with, taken photos, and had parties with. So these are 7 convicted MAPs. I'll leave that as is, MAPs. Those are the 3 people. There's pictures on the internet that, they've been cleaned a bit because probably, I'd like to know too, with access to information, all the news and pictures that the Liberal government scrubs out that's totally factual, but just makes bad light of Trudeau and what he does. The other 4 are anti-Semitic, extremist, terrorist, neo-Nazi. I'm going to put Yahtzee, but I'll put Nazi. Those 4 right there. So Trudeau, he has pictures of that too. And even that guy, Peter, you see that guy, Peter? Trudeau gave him an Order of Canada in 2016, and then a week later he got charged. And the other guy, Chris, his roommate, I forgot about that. Chris, the guy he actually lived with. So, yeah, it's 8. So this is who Trudeau's complaining about, a guy who's a President Daiglan's coke goat, charge him. If there's a crime, then charge him. It's been already, 3 years now? If there's no crime, then let it go. Oh my God, you look ridiculous in the world. Let's continue with the interview or the committee hearing with Trudeau. Thanks for making this far. I'll leave it on there just so it's obvious what Trudeau has done. I'll make a separate video on this too.
That goes to actively court the support of the group's members and thinks he can get away with it. This is a group that advocates for violence against US LGBTQI plus Canadians, against Hindus and Sikhs, against Muslims and Jews. Diagolon stands against everything we stand for as Canadians, and yet he will not denounce them or what they stand for. That is shameful, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, that, like everything else he says, is false. He uses fear and falsehood and this latest distraction because he doesn't want to face the fact that he has become so extreme and radical that even the BC NDP is distancing themselves from his decriminalization of crack, heroin, meth, and other hard drugs in hospital rooms, causing nurses to have to stop breastfeeding their babies for fear that their contaminated air might end up in the breast milk of the baby. Why won't he ban these drugs?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
We still won't condemn these groups. Any leader that needs the support of a far-right white nationalist group to fundraise and get closer to power does not deserve elected office. This is a 19-year career politician who knows exactly what he's doing and thinks he can get away with it. It was a choice to pander to white nationalists, not an accident. And it is a choice to continue to not condemn them and condemn everything they stand for in his quest for votes.
I'm going to ask the Honourable Member for the second time from St. Albert, Edmonton, to please withhold his comments until he has the floor. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it is a choice for him to implement extremist policies that have taken the lives of 2,500 British Columbians every single year. Since the NDP has asked him to reverse course on his and formerly their radical policy, 22 British Columbians have died of drug overdoses. But he continues to allow those drugs to kill the people in our hospitals and on our public transit. When will we put an end to this wacko policy by this wacko Prime Minister?
No. That is not there are a couple of things which are going on here today which is not acceptable. And I ask all members, please, to keep themselves, to control themselves. I'm going to ask two things. One, I'm going to ask the Honourable Leader of the Opposition to withdraw that term, which is not considered parliamentary.
Mr. Speaker, I replace wacko with extremist. He is an
The Honourable Member to please. I'm going to ask the Leader of the Opposition once again to just withdraw that comment, please. And I'll invite the Honourable Member. I'm going to ask the Honourable Leader of the Opposition to please withdraw that comment and simply withdraw that comment.
I'll replace it with radical justice policy.
I am not asking to replace. I'm asking the Honourable Member to just simply withdraw.
Mr. Speaker, I replace the word wacko with extremist.